We're ready with part 2.
Coefficient of friction testing. Okay, so what did we do in part 1? You know who I am, right? What's my name? Okay, close, but the name of my company? Did I say it too fast? Okay, you got it, good, very good.
The Black Belt Group.
Great, and we'll talk about that title in a second. And we talked about what we do, right? We serve attorneys, and not just any really personal injury attorneys. You know, we're a business consulting group, but right now a majority of our revenue, right, the money that we take in, is by providing these services to personal injury attorneys, specifically, right, where we go where they either don't want to go because of their schedule or can't go, right? They're headquartered in Fort Lauderdale. They're advertising in Orlando. They have work in Orlando. They don't want to fly into Orlando. We have people in Orlando. We have people in all the markets where the attorneys are advertising. Works nicely. Coefficient of friction testing service. Right, I mentioned that in the previous part 1 of this session. What that is for slip and fall cases. Do you remember where I mentioned slip and fall cases? Part of personal injury, right? But that's not a car accident. That's not a workers' comp case, an injury on the job. That's not a dog bite. That's where someone slips and fall. We talked about Outback as an example, where someone could, you know, theoretically slip and fall on water, or maybe on a floor that is the wrong floor for the establishment. It does happen. It was installed wrong. Maybe it's damaged. It does happen. Coefficient of friction testing, what that is, it is a service whereby we use a machine called a pull meter. It's about a $900 machine that we purchase that measures in terms of a coefficient, a mathematical coefficient, right? You know, that is between, I believe, 0 and 1. The level of friction of the floor surface, right? We know that at one extreme, it's a porosity or porousness from the word porous, right? That's a non-smooth surface. On the other extreme, you have a slippery, smooth surface, right? Each of you, I think, who are watching this video can think about, I mean, look at the floor right now. I mean, each of you are sitting or standing somewhere right now, I would think, and there's a floor beneath you. Look at that floor. What's the, just visually, what's the degree of friction that you can ascertain, or maybe to the touch of that floor surface, right? It's at one extreme or somewhere in the middle. Well, in North America, in the United States, there's laws that regulate what's correct, and I'm certain in other countries as well. When it comes to particularly commercial establishments, and there's safety regulations like through OSHA and through ADA. Those are acronyms that you could talk about with your teacher that regulate and speak to what the proper level of friction a floor surface should have, so that one would not fall or slip and fall under normal circumstances. So you would think, typically outside where it could rain or snow, let's say, subject to various kind of debris, you would want a more porous surface, right? Think about an area around a pool, right? We would want that to be particularly porous because of the water and because of the bare foot thing going on. Inside, we might be able to get away with more of a smoother surface. Here I'm sitting I'm in Steve's lovely home off of Broward Boulevard East, right off the beach, and he has a wood type of floor that is more slippery.
See?
You would think. You can tell by the reflection.
That's right.
And to the touch, it would certainly be more slippery. Mm-hmm. You know, Steve's work. Steve just put a mark for the flip-flops. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Steve and I are both wearing flip-flops, but I can tell you, walking around this house, I don't feel it's unstable. Right. I don't feel it's unstable. But you know, if he had the wrong flooring application, I don't know, maybe one would be susceptible to slipping and falling. So, what the coefficient of friction testing is about is determining whether the flooring application meets the correct friction specification measured by that mathematical coefficient. A great service, in demand. Not many folks know how to do that. We do at our company. It pays well. And very briefly, here are the components in that. There's the attorney, who's my client, who it really authorizes us to go out and provide the service. We normally get contact information and address. Sometimes if we show up at an establishment and we're getting resistance on coming in and getting these figures, the attorney can really legally move the hand. And you can learn what that means if you don't, but compel the other party so that we could gain access to get that, and it's through the court system, to get that access, to get that data that we need.
That's what they call the discovery process.
That's the discovery
right?
process, exactly.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Yes, it is. We would be part of that discovery process. And that is supposed to be expeditiously handled. And as we mentioned, if there are any resistance, we could go back and see that the doors are open for that process. We go in, it's usually a 30 or 40 minute procedure or process. Generally, there will be a representative from the firm, our client there, and a representative from the other party. Think about why. They want to make sure that nothing unscrupulous is happening, that the procedure, while fairly simple, is done ethically and responsibly. I don't have the machine at this time to demonstrate, but you're welcome to search, or we could do another piece on the internet. Coefficient friction testing and pull meter is the device that we use. You could search the acronym ASTM, which American
Safety, right?
Yeah, that's a professional body that's recognized to help govern this type of activity, and they have a link to buy this kind of machine and a write-up of really what we've been talking about as far as coefficient of friction testing. Anyway, we get that data, and we now partner with, I'm a contractor, right, to my client who hires me. Now, I have to finish the job. There's a more technical piece to that, and that involves a professional mechanical engineer who's a subcontractor to my client. I'm the contractor, and one level out is a subcontractor, right? So I don't get my client, the attorney, involved in this because I'm now going to make money a second time, right, off of the subcontractor's work. That's business, right? And I'm certain that my clients, the attorneys, like this because I'm presenting a complete package back to them. You'll understand what I mean by that in a minute. The mechanical engineer, part three.